What you are about to encounter is not merely a philosophy or a collection of motivational ideas, but the breaking of a spell that has bound you since the moment you were born. Most men and women walk through this world in a deep psychological sleep. They believe they are awake because their eyes are open and they are navigating the physical streets of their cities. Yet they are asleep to the only cause of reality that exists. You look at your bank account, your relationships, your health, and the political landscape, and you believe these things are happening to you. You believe that you are a tiny effect in a massive, chaotic world of causes. You struggle, you fight, and you manipulate the outside world, hoping to change your reflection in the mirror of life. This is the great illusion, the truth that mystics have guarded for centuries, and that I am here to reveal to you now, is that there is no cause outside of your own consciousness. You are not a cork bobbing in the ocean of fate. You are the ocean itself, dreaming that you are a cork. To awaken is to realize that the world you see is nothing more than your own consciousness pushed out. Everything and everyone in your life is a messenger telling you who you believe you are. The distance between what you desire and what you possess is not a distance of time or space, but a distance of consciousness. The moment you close that gap in your mind, the outer world must rush to confirm it. This is not magic, and it is not theory. It is the fundamental law of the universe, which we call the law of assumption. Before we can change your life, we must first change your understanding of who creates it. You have been taught to seek God outside of yourself, to pray to a deity in the sky, to wait for luck, or to beg for permission from the world. This conditioning is what keeps you small. The great secret is that God and your own wonderful human imagination are one. They are not two separate things. When you say, "I am," you are announcing the presence of God within you. That sense of existence, that awareness of being which you feel right now, is the only creative power in the universe. Let us go deeper into this mystery of identity, because if you do not grasp this, nothing else I share with you will matter. You can learn techniques and you can visualize scenes, but if you still believe you are a victim of circumstances, your visualizations will be weak and ineffective. You must understand that your consciousness is the only reality. The furniture in your room, the car you drive, the body you inhabit, and the friends you know are all manifestations of a specific state of consciousness. If you were to change your state of consciousness entirely, your world would have to change to match it. It is impossible for you to see anything in your world that you are not conscious of being. This is why two men can walk down the same street in the same city during the same economic depression and experience two completely different worlds. One man sees opportunity and abundance while the other sees only lack and despair. The difference is not in the street or the economy. The difference is in their internal identity. The first step of awakening is to stop identifying with the shadows of your past. You are not your past failures. You are not your education level. You are not what your parents said you were. These are just garments you have worn. The real you is the presence that observes these things. When you realize this, you reclaim your power. You become what we call the operant power. This means you stop waiting for the world to give you permission to be wealthy or loved. You give yourself that permission by assuming the feeling of it right now. You must dare to assume that you are already the person you wish to be. This is a radical act. It requires you to ignore the evidence of your senses. Your eyes will tell you that you are poor. Your bank account will tell you that you are struggling. Your logic will tell you that it is impossible. But the awakened man knows that reason and the senses are often liars. They only report the past. They tell you what your previous assumptions have created, but they cannot tell you what is possible. Only your imagination can do that. Think of the world as a vast, multi-dimensional mirror. If you stand before a physical mirror and you have a frown on your face, you cannot force the reflection to smile. You can yell at the mirror. You can break the mirror, or you can try to manipulate the reflection with your hands, but it will remain a frown until you, the observer, decide to smile. The moment you smile, the mirror has no choice but to reflect a smile back to you. The physical world works in exactly the same way. It is a screen of space upon which you project your inner convictions. If you are constantly worried about money, you are projecting a frown at the mirror of reality. And the mirror must reflect more bills, more debt, and more anxiety. If you are constantly fearful of rejection, the mirror must reflect people who ignore you or mistreat you. The world is ruthless in its honesty. It will always show you exactly what you believe to be true about yourself. This is why the law of assumption is the master key. It bypasses the need to change others. You do not need to change your boss. You do not need to change the economy. You do not need to change your partner. You only need to change your assumption of them and your assumption of yourself in relation to them. When you change your inner conversation and your inner feeling, the world will reshuffle itself to match your new concept. I have seen this happen thousands of times. I have seen men who were on the verge of bankruptcy assume the feeling of immense security and wealth. They did not raise a finger to manipulate the markets. They simply went to the end in their imagination. They slept in the feeling of success, and seemingly out of nowhere, a phone call came. A contract was awarded, or an old debt was paid. The world moved to accommodate their new assumption. This is because there is no objective reality, independent of your perception of it. You are the architect, you are the writer, the director, and the main actor of your play. Up until now, you may have been writing a tragedy unconsciously. Today is the day you grab the pen and begin writing a triumph. The most difficult concept for the sleeping man to grasp is the idea of living from the end. We are conditioned to think in a linear timeline. We believe we must take step A, then step B, then step C to get to our goal. We think we must work hard, save money, and struggle for years to become wealthy. But in the realm of consciousness, the end is where we begin. Creation is finished. This is a staggering truth. Every possible version of your life already exists right now. The version of you that is wealthy exists. The version of you that is happy exists. The version of you that is healthy exists. They are like radio stations broadcasting simultaneously. You are currently tuned into the station of your present limitations. So that is the music you hear. To change your life, you do not need to create a new station. You simply need to tune your frequency to the station where your desire is already a fact. How do you tune this frequency? By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You do not think of your goal. You think from your goal. If you want a new home, you do not close your eyes and see the house as a picture in the distance. That creates separation, that affirms that you do not have it. Instead, you close your eyes and you step into the house. You view the world from the windows of that house. You feel the floorboards under your feet. You sleep in that bedroom. You mentally occupy that state until it feels natural. The moment you make it natural in your imagination, you have tuned into that reality. The physical manifestation is just a delayed echo. It must appear, but you must possess the psychological willingness to let go of the old safety of your current problems. Many people say they want to change, but they are secretly addicted to their struggle. Their struggle gives them an identity. It gives them something to talk about with their friends, to awaken. You must be willing to give up your story of victimhood. You must be willing to be the person who has it all, even if you feel unworthy. This brings us to the most crucial aspect of the awakening, which is the death of the old self. You cannot drag your old fears and your old identity into your new life. It is spiritually impossible. As the ancient texts say, you cannot put new wine into old wineskins, or they will burst to become the new person. The old person must die. This is not a physical death, but a psychological one. You must identify the state of consciousness that is causing your current problems. Is it the state of the victim? Is it the state of the unwanted child? Is it the state of the failure? Whatever it is, you must detach your I am from it. You must stop saying I am unlucky or I am broke. You must withdraw your life energy from those concepts. This is a disciplined act of renunciation. It means you no longer react to the world in the old way. When a bill arrives, the old you would panic. The new you, the awakened you, remains calm, knowing that this is just a shadow of the past. And you persist in your assumption of abundance. When a conflict arises, the old you would fight and argue. The new you revises the scene instantly and assumes harmony. This detachment is painful at first because we love our old habits. We love the comfort of the known, even if the known is painful. But you cannot serve two masters. You cannot live in the state of the wish fulfilled while occasionally visiting the state of lack just to check if it is still there. You must burn the bridges. You must move your entire consciousness into the new state and dwell there. This is what it means to be born again. It is a radical transformation of self that takes place entirely within the silence of your own mind. True faith is not blind belief in religious dogma. True faith is loyalty to your unseen reality. When you have imagined a state and felt it to be true, you have created a spiritual reality. Faith is the refusal to accept anything that contradicts that reality. The world will test you. It will throw circumstances at you that seem to deny your assumption. This is the test of the awakened man. Will you believe your senses, or will you believe your imagination? The sleeping man retreats the moment he sees an obstacle. He says it didn't work and he goes back to his old life. The awakened man looks at the obstacle and laughs. Knowing it is just smoke, he persists. He persists not with effort, but with conviction. He knows that his assumption has its own appointed hour and it will not be late. You are the operant power. This phrase means that the power to operate the machinery of the universe lies in your hands. It is not in the hands of the stars, the politicians, or your family. It is in your capacity to feel. Feeling is the secret. It is the language that the subconscious mind understands. You cannot lie to the subconscious. You cannot just say affirmations with your mouth while your heart feels fear. The subconscious hears the fear and manifests more things to be afraid of. You must capture the feeling. What would it feel like if your desire were true right now? Would you feel excited, perhaps for a moment? But the deeper feeling is relief. It is a quiet satisfaction. It is a naturalness. When you put on a new suit, you might feel excited, but when you wear it every day, it becomes natural. It becomes part of you. You must wear your new state of consciousness until it feels natural, until you feel like it is weird not to be wealthy, until you feel like it is strange not to be loved. When the new state becomes your natural dwelling place, the physical world will snap into alignment with the precision of a laser. So I ask you again, who are you? Are you the creature of habit, reacting to the news and the weather and the opinions of others? Or are you the creator, the God force individualized, ready to command your reality? The awakening is simply the decision to stop being the effect and start being the cause. It is the decision to take full responsibility for everything in your world. There is no one to blame anymore. There is no one to change but self. This is a heavy burden for the ego, but it is absolute freedom for the spirit. Once you accept that you are the cause, you realize that you can change the effect anytime you choose. You can rewrite your past through revision. You can script your future through assumption. You can transform your present through inner speech. You are standing at the precipice of a new life. The door is open. The key is in your pocket. The key is your imagination. But you must be the one to turn it. You must be the one to walk through. No one can do it for you. Not I. Not any teacher. Not any book. You must dare to assume. You must dare to claim your inheritance. As we move forward into the mechanics of how to do this, remember this foundation. You are not a human being trying to have a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being who has dreamed yourself into a human experience. Waking up from the dream does not mean leaving the world. It means lucid dreaming. It means controlling the dream while you are in it. It means knowing that the walls are not solid, that the rules are flexible, and that gravity itself must bow to the weight of your assumption. Stand tall in this knowledge. Breathe it in. Let it settle in your bones. You are the power. You are the way. Now let us discover how to use this power to bend the world to your will. Now that you have accepted the radical truth that you are the operant power and that your consciousness is the sole cause of your life, we must move from philosophy to mechanics. It is not enough to simply know you are the creator. You must know how the machine works. You must understand the levers and pulleys of the universe so that you can operate them with precision rather than by accident. Many people stumble upon this power occasionally. They think of a friend and the friend calls. They fear a bill and the bill arrives. They call this coincidence. But to the awakened mind, there are no coincidences. There are only patterns of energy that you have set in motion. The mechanic does not look at a running engine and call it magic. He understands the combustion, the gears, and the transmission. Today I will show you the transmission of reality. I will show you exactly how a thought becomes a thing and how an invisible assumption hardens into concrete fact. This requires us to dissect the most subtle movements of your mind. We are going to look at the difference between thinking of a desire and thinking from a desire. This distinction is the razor's edge. It is the difference between the dreamer who dies in poverty and the visionary who reshapes the world. The vast majority of people fail to manifest their desires because they are trapped in the state of thinking of the end. To think of your desire is to see it as an object outside of yourself. You look at the fancy car in the magazine. You look at the happy couple on the street. You look at the bank balance you wish to have. In your mind, you are here and the desire is there. There is a gap of time and space between you. You are the observer and the desire is the observed. This is fatal. As long as you are looking at your desire, you are affirming that you do not have it. You are reinforcing the state of lack. The universe listens to your feeling of separation and gives you more separation. You will always be the person looking through the window at the party, never the person inside. To command reality, you must shift to thinking from the end. This is a radical relocation of your consciousness. To think from the end means you move into the state of the wish fulfilled and you look out at the world from that vantage point. You do not think of the new house. You think from the living room of the new house. You imagine yourself sitting on the sofa. You look at the walls. You look out the window and see the street that would be there if you were actually in the house. You are not seeing the house. You are seeing the world from the house. Do you see the difference? In the first instance, you are a stranger desiring a home. In the second instance, you are the owner occupying the home. Possession is the secret. You must occupy the state of the wish fulfilled with such intensity that the outer world fades away and the inner world becomes the only reality. Let us examine the mechanism of how this inner occupation transforms outer reality. It operates on the law of reversibility. We know that in the physical world, a physical fact creates a psychological state. If you were to walk outside right now and find a suitcase with $1 million, your heart rate would speed up, your breath would change. You would feel a sudden rush of security and excitement. You would walk differently. You would speak to your neighbor with a different tone. The physical fact produced the feeling, but the mechanical law of the universe states that if a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then a psychological state can produce a physical fact. This is the key. If you can produce the feeling of security, excitement, and relief before the money appears, the law requires that the money must appear to match the feeling. The subconscious mind does not care about the order of events. It works backwards as easily as it works forwards. If you assume the feeling of the end, the means to that end will be created. But this feeling must be specific. It is not a frantic, high-energy emotion that you try to pump up for 5 minutes. That is useless. It is the feeling of naturalness. It is the feeling of reality. When you actually possess something, you are not running around screaming in excitement every day. You are calm. You are secure. It is yours. You treat it as a fact. If you want to be married, do not imagine the excitement of the wedding day. Imagine the quiet comfort of the marriage. Imagine the feeling of the wedding ring on your finger. Twist it. Feel the metal. Feel the weight of it. Do this in your imagination until it feels natural. Until it feels like you would be surprised if it wasn't there. When the psychological state becomes natural, the physical manifestation becomes inevitable. Once you have successfully occupied the state of the wish fulfilled, you have planted the seed. Now comes the most misunderstood part of the mechanics, the bridge of incidence. Most people expect their desire to drop out of the sky like a miracle. They think they will visualize money and a bag of cash will appear on their bed. While this is possible, the universe usually works through natural channels. It constructs a bridge of events that links your current state to your desired state. You do not build this bridge. You walk across it. And often, you do not even know you are on it until you reach the other side. This bridge may look like a series of coincidences. You might bump into an old friend who offers you a business opportunity. You might get laid off from your job, which feels like a disaster, but it forces you to start the company you always dreamed of. You might miss a train and meet the love of your life on the next platform. The rational mind looks at these events and calls them accidents, but the awakened mind knows they are the unfolding of the assumption. The bridge of incidents is how your higher self orchestrates the fulfillment of your desire. This is why you must not judge the events of the day. A seemingly bad event might be the very thing needed to push you toward your goal. If you have assumed success, then everything that happens to you is part of the plot to get you to success. You do not need to worry about the how. You do not need to micromanage the universe. Your job is the end. The universe's job is the means. When you try to figure out the how, you step out of the state of the end and back into the state of doubt. You delay the manifestation. Trust the bridge. Walk it with faith. Let us examine the mechanism of how this inner occupation transforms outer reality. It operates on the law of reversibility. We know that in the physical world, a physical fact creates a psychological state. If you were to walk outside right now and find a suitcase with $1 million, your heart rate would speed up. Your breath would change. You would feel a sudden rush of security and excitement. You would walk differently. You would speak to your neighbor with a different tone. The physical fact produced the feeling, but the mechanical law of the universe states that if a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then a psychological state can produce a physical fact. This is the key. If you can produce the feeling of security, excitement, and relief before the money appears. The law requires that the money must appear to match the feeling. The subconscious mind does not care about the order of events. It works backwards as easily as it works forwards. If you assume the feeling of the end, the means to that end will be created. But this feeling must be specific. It is not a frantic, high-energy emotion that you try to pump up for 5 minutes. That is useless. It is the feeling of naturalness. It is the feeling of reality. When you actually possess something, you are not running around screaming in excitement every day. You are calm. You are secure. It is yours. You treat it as a fact. If you want to be married, do not imagine the excitement of the wedding day. Imagine the quiet comfort of the marriage. Imagine the feeling of the wedding ring on your finger. Twist it. Feel the metal. Feel the weight of it. Do this in your imagination until it feels natural. Until it feels like you would be surprised if it wasn't there. When the psychological state becomes natural, the physical manifestation becomes inevitable. Once you have successfully occupied the state of the wish fulfilled, you have planted the seed. Now comes the most misunderstood part of the mechanics, the bridge of incidence. Most people expect their desire to drop out of the sky like a miracle. They think they will visualize money and a bag of cash will appear on their bed. While this is possible, The universe usually works through natural channels. It constructs a bridge of events that links your current state to your desired state. You do not build this bridge. You walk across it, and often you do not even know you are on it until you reach the other side. This bridge may look like a series of coincidences. You might bump into an old friend who offers you a business opportunity. You might get laid off from your job, which feels like a disaster, but it forces you to start the company you always dreamed of. You might miss a train and meet the love of your life on the next platform. The rational mind looks at these events and calls them accidents, but the awakened mind knows they are the unfolding of the assumption. The bridge of incidents is how your higher self orchestrates the fulfillment of your desire. This is why you must not judge the events of the day. A seemingly bad event might be the very thing needed to push you toward your goal. If you have assumed success, then everything that happens to you is part of the plot to get you to success. You do not need to worry about the how. You do not need to micromanage the universe. Your job is the end. The universe's job is the means. When you try to figure out the how, you step out of the state of the end and back into the state of doubt. You delay the manifestation, trust the bridge, walk it with faith. A common question arises in the mechanics of reality regarding time. How long will it take, you ask? I have assumed the state. I have felt it. Why is it not here yet? You must understand that every seed has its own gestation period. In the physical world, a carrot takes a few weeks to grow. A human baby takes 9 months. An oak tree takes years. In the world of consciousness, desires also have a gestation period. We do not always know what that time interval is, but we know it exists. The mistake many people make is digging up the seed to see if it is growing. You assume you are wealthy on Monday. On Tuesday, you check your bank account and see no change. So you get discouraged and dig up the seed. On Wednesday, you plant it again. On Thursday, you dig it up again. You never give the seed time to take root. You must have the confidence of the farmer. When a farmer plants corn, he does not pace the field at night worrying. He knows the nature of corn. He knows the earth will do the work. He rests. This is the state of the Sabbath. It is the mental rest that comes from the conviction that it is done. If you are anxious, you have not successfully planted the seed. Anxiety is the proof of a lack of faith. When you have truly done the work in your imagination, you will feel a sense of relief. You will feel that the heavy lifting is over. The external time delay does not bother you because you know the result is inevitable. You simply go about your day, doing what needs to be done, knowing that the arrival of your desire is as certain as the rising of the sun. However, do not mistake rest for laziness. There is a requirement for persistence. We are creatures of habit, and our minds are like rubber bands. We stretch them into a new assumption, but they have a tendency to snap back to the old shape. You might feel wealthy for 10 minutes during your meditation, but then you spend the next 10 hours complaining about prices. This cancels out your work. The mechanics of reality require dominance. You must dominate your mind. You must bring it back to the state of the wish fulfilled again and again. Think of it like training a puppy. When the puppy wanders, you do not hit it. You gently bring it back to the path. When your mind wanders into doubt or fear, gently bring it back to the feeling of the end. Do this 70 times, 7 times a day if necessary. Eventually, the new state will become the dominant habit. It will become your dwelling place rather than just a guest house you visit. The law works by dominance. It is not the fleeting thought that manifests, but the dominant state of consciousness. You must saturate your mind with the new reality until there is no room left for the old one. You must become so consumed by the feeling of your desire that you crowd out the doubts. This persistence is what separates the casual dreamer from the master manifester. The master does not take no for an answer from the world. He persists in his assumption until the world yields. And yield it must. We have now laid out the mechanics. You understand that you must think from the end, not of it. You understand the law of reversibility, that feeling the result produces the cause. You understand the bridge of incidents and the need to trust the unfolding path. You understand the necessity of sensory vividness to trick the subconscious. And you understand the battle against reason and the need for persistence. These are your tools. You are no longer a helpless observer of life. You are a certified architect of destiny. You have the blueprints and you have the materials. The material is your own consciousness. But there is one final piece of the puzzle that we must address. We have talked about creating the future, but what about the chains of the past? What about the memories that haunt you, the mistakes that define you, and the old beliefs that keep dragging you back? You cannot build a skyscraper on a broken foundation. We must repair the timeline. We must go back and fix the errors of yesterday so they do not infect tomorrow. This is the lost art that I will reveal to you next. It is the most powerful technique for clearing the path to your desires. It is the art of revision. Prepare yourself, for we are about to learn how to change history itself. We have spoken of the awakening, where you realize that you are the operant power of your life. We have explored the mechanics of reality, where you learn to think from the end and create the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But now we arrive at the greatest stumbling block for the seeker of truth. We arrive at the problem of the past. Most of you are carrying a heavy burden of memories that contradict the new life you are trying to build. You try to imagine wealth, but your memory reminds you of the bankruptcy you filed 5 years ago. You try to imagine a loving relationship, but your memory replays the arguments and the heartbreak of yesterday. You feel trapped by what has already happened. You believe that the past is a statue carved in stone, unchangeable and final. You believe that because it happened, it must forever be a part of your reality. I am here to tell you that this belief is the prison door that you have locked from the inside. The past is not fixed. The past is not a statue. The past is nothing more than a memory. And a memory is nothing more than a mental image. And since imagination creates reality, a memory is simply an imagination that you have frozen in place. As long as you keep that frozen image of failure alive in your mind, you will continue to reproduce it in your future. You cannot build a new house on a broken foundation. You cannot plant a beautiful garden if the soil is choked with weeds. To command reality, you must learn the art of the spiritual gardener. You must learn to take the pruning shears of your mind and cut away the events that do not serve you. This is the lost art of revision. It is the most practical, the most powerful, and the most neglected technique in the entire philosophy of assumption. If you master this, you can rewrite your history. And in doing so, you change your destiny. Let us look closely at what memory truly is. When you recall an event from yesterday or 10 years ago, you are not playing back a videotape that is stored in an objective vault. You are reconstructing the event in the present moment. You are pulling up a scene and energizing it with your current attention. Every time you remember a past trauma, you are essentially reliving it. You are taking the feelings of that past moment and pulling them into the now. And because the subconscious mind only knows the now, it interprets this memory as a current instruction. It says to itself that you are still experiencing rejection, so it must create more rejection tomorrow. It says you are still experiencing sickness, so it must create more sickness. This is why history repeats itself. It is not karma. It is not punishment. It is simply that you have not changed the record. But here is the glorious truth. Because memory is an act of imagination in the present, it is subject to the control of the operant power. You have the ability to go back into your memory and edit the scene. You can change what was said. You can change what was done. You can change the outcome. This is not lying to yourself. This is a spiritual act of rewriting the script. If you were a writer working on a novel and you wrote a chapter where the hero fails, and you realize that this failure ruins the rest of the story, would you say that you are stuck with it? No. You would erase it and write a scene where the hero succeeds. You are the writer of your life. The past chapters are not published yet. They are drafts. You can revise them. You can change the interview that went wrong into an interview that went right. You can change the letter of rejection into a letter of acceptance. When you do this with intensity, you change the frequency of your life. You release the energy that was trapped in the old disappointment, and you transmute it into fuel for your new success. This concept of revision is the true meaning of forgiveness. For centuries, we have been taught that forgiveness means to accept the bad behavior of others and to say that it is okay. We think forgiveness is a moral duty where we suppress our anger and try to be saintly. That is not forgiveness. That is repression. True forgiveness is the complete obliteration of the offense from your consciousness. You cannot truly forgive a man if you still remember him as the man who hurt you. As long as you hold the image of him as an enemy or a failure, you are keeping him in that state, and you are keeping yourself in the state of the victim. To forgive him, you must revise your concept of him. You must see him as he ought to be, not as he was. If you had an argument with your spouse this morning, do not go through the day carrying the heavy energy of that conflict. If you do, you will attract more conflict this evening. Instead, revise it. Go into your imagination and replay the morning scene. But this time, rewrite the script. Instead of the harsh words that were spoken, hear them say words of love and understanding. Instead of the angry look in their eyes, see a look of kindness. Replay this new scene over and over until you feel the relief of it, until the anger dissolves and is replaced by peace. When you do this, you are actually altering the spiritual cause of the event. You will find that when you return home, your spouse will have changed. They may not know why, but the anger will be gone. They will reflect the new image you have created. This is how you change people. You do not change them by nagging or arguing. You change them by revising your concept of them. You lift them up in your imagination to the state you desire, and you hold them there. This is the ultimate act of love. Now, I will give you the specific technique. This is not something you do once a year. This is a daily hygiene for your mind. Just as brushing your teeth is hygiene for your body, you must not let the sun go down on your anger or your disappointment. If you carry the disappointments of today into your sleep, you will impregnate your subconscious with failure, and you will wake up tomorrow in a world that reflects that failure. You must clear the slate every single night. Here is the method. At the end of the day, before you go to sleep, find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and let the events of the day pass before your mental vision. Review the day in reverse order, or from morning to night, whichever is easier for you. Look at the events objectively. You will see moments that were neutral, moments that were pleasant, and moments that were displeasing. When you reach a scene that did not go as you wished, stop the tape. Do not just watch it and feel bad. That is the old way. Pause the scene. Now, enter into the scene with your imagination. But this time, act as the director. Change the script. If you received a bill you could not pay, revise the scene. Imagine opening the envelope and seeing a check for a large sum of money instead. Feel the paper in your hands. Read the numbers. Feel the rush of gratitude. Do not just visualize it vaguely. Hallucinate it. Make it real. Play this new scene over and over. Loop it. First time, it might feel fake. Second time, it gets easier. By the seventh time, you will start to believe it. You will feel the tension leave your body. You will feel a smile come to your face. Keep doing it until the new version takes on the tones of reality. What you are doing is replacing the memory of the fact with the memory of the wish fulfilled. You are overwriting the hard drive of your subconscious. When you fall asleep after doing this, you are falling asleep in the vibration of success, regardless of what the physical world showed you that day. And because the subconscious creates from your feeling at the moment of sleep, You are ensuring that your tomorrow will be born from this new, revised victory. Let us illustrate this with a concrete story so you can see the power of it. Imagine a man who goes to a job interview for his dream position. He is nervous. He stumbles over his words. The interviewer looks unimpressed and cuts the meeting short. The man walks out feeling humiliated and hopeless. The physical facts say he failed. The logic says he will not get the job. Now, the average man will go home, call his friends, and tell them how terrible it was. He will replay the failure in his mind all night, reinforcing the state of unemployment. He is watering the weeds of his own defeat. But the awakened man acts differently. He walks out of the building and immediately begins the work of revision. He refuses to accept the sensory evidence. He goes to a quiet park bench or sits in his car, and he rewinds the scene. In his imagination, he walks back into the office. He sees himself calm and confident. He hears himself answering every question with brilliance and wit. He sees the interviewer smiling and nodding in agreement. He imagines the interviewer standing up, shaking his hand firmly, and saying the words, "You are exactly who we have been looking for. When can you start?" He feels the firm grip of the handshake. He feels the leather of the portfolio in his hand. He hears the specific tone of respect in the voice. He replays this scene until the memory of the bad interview fades and the memory of the successful interview feels solid. He does this until he actually feels the satisfaction of having the job. Then he goes about his day. He has pruned the future. He has changed the timeline. What happens next? Perhaps the company calls him and says they reconsidered. Perhaps that interviewer leaves and a new one reviews his file. Or perhaps that job was not the one. But because he is now vibrating at the frequency of hired and successful, a better job appears instantly that matches his new state. The specifics of the how are not his concern. His concern is that he refused to accept failure as final. He revised it into success, and the law remains true. What you impress upon the subconscious must be expressed in the world. You can apply this to everything. If you receive a medical diagnosis that frightens you, hear the doctor telling you that it was a mistake or that you have made a miraculous recovery, hear the good news until you feel the relief of health. You are not denying the fact to be delusional. You are denying the fact's authority over you to change it. This technique is not limited to the events of today. You can go back and revise events from your childhood. Many of you are held back by beliefs formed when you were 5 or 6 years old. Maybe a teacher told you that you were stupid. Maybe a parent told you that money is hard to get. These moments are still living in your subconscious, acting as invisible barriers to your wealth and happiness. You can go back to that classroom in your mind. You can revise that moment, see the teacher looking at you with pride, hear her say, "You are brilliant. You can achieve anything." See your parents handing you money and telling you, "There is always more than enough. You are secure." It does not matter that the physical people are dead or gone. They are alive in you. When you revise these foundational memories, you are pulling the poison out of the root system of your life. You will find that suddenly your resistance to success disappears. You will find that your self-sabotage stops. You are literally healing your own timeline. You are rewriting the code of your operating system. This is the great work. This is why you are here. You are not here to suffer the past. You are here to redeem it. Some of you may still be skeptical. Your logical mind is asking, but the event actually happened, didn't it? Isn't this just pretending? Let me ask you, what is actually happened? The event itself is gone. It no longer exists in physical space. The only place it exists is in your neural pathways, in your mind. If the event only exists in your mind, and you have the power to change your mind, then you have the power to change the event's existence within you. Furthermore, modern science tells us that the observer affects the observed. It tells us that time is not linear. When you revise, you are operating in the quantum field of possibilities. You are selecting a different timeline. You are moving your consciousness from the timeline where you failed to the timeline where you succeeded. Since your life is the outpicturing of your consciousness, your outer world must shift to align with the timeline you are now inhabiting. Do not let the world tell you this is madness. The true madness is to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. The true madness is to keep replaying memories of pain and expecting to find happiness. To be sane is to take control of your mind. To be sane is to select the memories that serve your highest ideal. I will not lie to you. This work requires discipline. It is easier to be a victim. It is easier to cry and complain and blame the world. It takes effort to stop the momentum of a negative emotion and rewrite it. When you first start, your mind will rebel. It will want to wallow in the grievance. It will want to be right rather than be happy. You must be firm. You must be the master. You must take those pruning shears and cut the vine of negativity ruthlessly. Imagine your life is a garden every day. Thoughts and events grow like plants. Some are flowers, some are weeds. If you simply go to sleep without revision, you are allowing the weeds to take root. By morning, they have grown stronger. In a week, they have choked your flowers. But if you revise daily, you are going into the garden every evening and pulling up the weeds while they are small. You are watering the flowers. You are ensuring that only the beautiful plants, the successes, the joys, the victories are allowed to grow into your tomorrow. If you do this faithfully for 1 month, your garden will be transformed. Your life will become a paradise of your own making. You will notice that bad things stop happening to you, or they resolve themselves so quickly it feels like a miracle. This is because you are no longer feeding the roots of misfortune. This, my friends, is the key that unlocks the chains of karma. You are not bound by your past. You are not bound by your mistakes. You are not bound by your lineage. At any moment, you can stop the wheel, step off, and rewrite the story. You can be the person who had a happy childhood. Even if you are 50 years old, you can be the person who has always been successful. Even if you failed yesterday, the subconscious mind will accept the revised truth if you persist in it with feeling. As we prepare to move to the next phase, where we will discuss how to control the inner conversations that spring from these memories, I want you to make a pact with yourself. Promise yourself that tonight and every night for the rest of your life, you will not sleep until you have revised the day. Make it your sacred ritual. Never let a weed grow into the night. Keep your garden clean. Keep your mind pure. By doing this, you are not just changing your own life. You are raising the energy of everyone around you. You are becoming a conscious creator. You are taking your place as the operant power. Now, let us look at the voice that narrates your life, the secret power of your inner speech, and how it directs the course of your destiny. Now that you hold the pruning shears of revision in your hand, you have the power to liberate yourself from the past. But power requires community, and wisdom requires a daily reminder. If you are finding value in this deep dive into the nature of reality, I invite you to pause for a moment. Join our community of awakened creators. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. By doing this, you are not just supporting a channel. You are making a conscious declaration to the universe that you are ready to wake up. You are signaling that you are prioritizing your spiritual growth above the noise of the world. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Make this your home. Now that you have cleared the weeds of the past, we must plant the new seeds. Let us discover how to control the voice that dictates your future, your inner speech. We have journeyed through the awakening of your true identity. We have dismantled the illusion of the external world. We have learned the mechanics of assuming the end, and we have mastered the art of revising the past to clear the weeds from our garden. Now, we must address the most active, the most constant, and the most critical activity of your life. We must speak of your inner speech. At this very moment, as you listen to my voice, there is another voice speaking. It is the voice inside your own head. It is commenting, judging, analyzing, and arguing. You are doing it while you walk, while you eat, and while you work. You are doing it from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. For most people, this inner conversation is a chaotic noise, a mixture of fear, worry, and regurgitated news. You treat it as background noise, as something that just happens to you. But I am here to tell you that this inner speech is not noise. It is the workshop of creation. It is the pen with which you write your destiny in real time. Every word you speak silently to yourself is a command to the universe. The world you see around you is nothing more than your inner conversations crystallized into form. You cannot see the wind, but you can see the trees bending. You cannot see your inner speech, but you can see the circumstances of your life bending to match it. If your life is chaotic, it is because your inner speech is chaotic. If your relationships are full of conflict, it is because you are holding arguments in your mind. To change the world, you do not need to lift a finger. You need to change the conversation you are having with yourself. This is the secret of the mental diet. Just as you would not feed your body poison and expect health, you cannot feed your mind negative conversations and expect success. Let us understand the metaphysics of this. In the ancient mysteries, it was said that in the beginning was the Word. This is not speaking of a word written in a book. It is speaking of the creative power of thought expressed as internal sound. Your inner speech is the vibration that arranges the particles of your reality. The universe is always eavesdropping on your inner monologue. It does not care what you say to others in public. You can smile at your boss and say polite things. But if internally you are cursing him and complaining about his incompetence, the universe hears the complaint. The universe honors your inner truth, not your outer mask. This is why so many people fail to manifest. They spend 30 minutes in meditation visualizing wealth, and then they spend the remaining 16 hours of the day mentally complaining about the price of gas, the cost of rent, and the lack of money. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot have a double-minded conversation and expect a single-minded result. The 30 minutes of visualization is powerful, but it is often cancelled out by the 16 hours of negative inner speech. It is like building a house in the morning and tearing it down in the afternoon. You never make progress. To command reality, your inner speech must match your fulfilled desire. You must become a fanatic about what you say to yourself. You must monitor your mind like a guardian at the gate. If a thought comes that suggests failure, you must stop it. You must not finish the sentence. You must replace it instantly with a speech that implies success. This is not repression. This is selection. You are selecting the reality you wish to inhabit by selecting the words you speak in the silence of your soul. We must distinguish between spending thoughts and investing thoughts. Most people spend their thoughts. They waste them on petty arguments, on replaying bad news, on worrying about things that may never happen. This is a waste of creative energy. It leaves you depleted, and it creates a future that is just as exhausted as you are. To invest your thoughts is to use them constructively. When you think of a friend, do you invest a thought of their success? Or do you spend a thought worrying about their problems? When you think of your business, do you invest a conversation of growth? Or do you spend a conversation on fear of bankruptcy? A mental diet requires discipline. It means you must be willing to be alone with your thoughts and not be afraid of them. You must listen to what you are saying. Are you playing the victim? Are you rehearsing a tragedy? Many of us are addicted to tragic inner conversations. We construct elaborate arguments with people who are not even in the room. We win these arguments in our heads, and we feel a momentary sense of satisfaction. But we do not realize that by arguing internally, we are creating conflict externally. The person you argued with in your mind will inevitably do something to irritate you in reality because you have commanded them to do so. You wrote the script, and they are just the actor delivering the lines you gave them. If you want peace in your home, you must first cease the war in your mind. You must stop the inner arguments. You must start holding loving conversations with the image of that person within you. How do we apply this practically? It starts with the question, if my desire were already a fact, what would I be saying to myself? How would I be speaking? The man who is financially free does not walk down the street saying, I hope I can pay the electric bill. He walks down the street saying, isn't it a beautiful day? Isn't it wonderful that I have everything I need? His inner speech is relaxed. It is confident. It is free from anxiety. To manifest wealth, you must adopt this tone of voice before the money appears. You must practice the inner speech of the wealthy man. This is where the phrase, isn't it wonderful, becomes a powerful tool. When you do not know exactly how to construct a scene, or when your logical mind is fighting you on the details, simply use a general phrase that implies fulfillment. Repeat to yourself, isn't it wonderful? Something marvelous is happening to me now. Do not worry about what the marvelous thing is. The feeling of wonder is the key. When you saturate your mind with the phrase, isn't it wonderful, you are tuning your consciousness to the frequency of miracles. You are clearing the airways for good things to land. You will find that when you do this, your mood lifts, the heaviness in your chest dissipates, and suddenly the phone rings with good news. The email arrives. The solution presents itself. Why? Because you changed the command code. You stopped broadcasting static and started broadcasting a clear signal of reception. Let us go deeper into the power of inner speech regarding others. There is no separation between minds. We are all connected in the vast ocean of consciousness. This means that your inner speech is actually a form of telepathic communication. Have you ever thought of someone and then they called you? Have you ever hummed a song and then turned on the radio to hear it playing? This is not coincidence. This is the transmission of thought. You can use this consciously to heal relationships and attract opportunities. If you are going for a job interview, do not spend the drive there having a nervous conversation with yourself about how unqualified you are. Instead, construct a mental conversation with the employer. Hear them telling you how impressed they are. Hear them offering you the salary you desire. Hear yourself accepting it with gratitude. Hold this conversation as if it were taking place right now. Make it real. Hear the tone of their voice. When you walk into the room, you will find that the atmosphere has been prepared for you. The employer will unconsciously pick up on the conviction you have established. They will feel compelled to hire you. They will think it was their idea, but it was actually your inner speech that planted the seed. This applies to love as well. If you desire a specific person, or if you want to improve your marriage, stop nagging them on the outside. Stop begging. Go inside. Hold a conversation with them where they tell you exactly what you want to hear. Hear them say, I love you. Hear them say, I am sorry. Hear them say, let us build a life together. If you do this with faith, they will reflect it. They have no choice but to reflect the dominant conversation of your consciousness. I know that changing your inner speech is difficult. You have decades of habit working against you. You have neural pathways that are like deep ruts in a muddy road. Your wheel naturally falls into the rut of negativity. To get out of the rut, you need a pattern interrupt. You need a way to snap yourself out of the drift. Here is the technique. Throughout the day, catch yourself. Set an alarm on your phone every hour if you must. When the alarm goes off, ask yourself, what was I just saying to myself? If it was a noble thought, a loving thought, a constructive thought, then let it continue. But if it was a thought of lack, fear, or judgment, stop it immediately. Do not analyze it. Do not psychoanalyze why you had it. Just drop it. Slam the door on it, and instantly replace it with its opposite. If you were saying, I am so tired, immediately say, I am full of energy and vitality. If you were saying, I will never get out of debt, immediately say, I am abundantly provided for. You must be ruthless. You must be aggressive with your own mind. You are the master, and the mind is the servant. But the servant has taken over the house because the master has been asleep. It is time to wake up and give orders. You must understand that there is a delay. We spoke of this in the mechanics section. The world is an echo. When you shout into a canyon, it takes a few seconds for the sound to bounce back. Your current reality is the echo of the inner speech you held yesterday, last week, and last month. When you change your inner speech today, you may still hear the old echo for a little while. You may still see the bills. You may still see the problems. Do not be discouraged. Do not say it is not working. Recognize that this is just the old echo fading away. The new sound, the new inner speech is traveling towards you right now. It will hit the wall of reality and bounce back as a new circumstance. This understanding gives you patience. It keeps you from digging up the seed. You know that if you persist in the new conversation, the new reality is inevitable. It is a law of physics. Sound waves must reflect. Thought waves must objectify. Keep talking the new language. Keep speaking the dialect of your wish fulfilled. Eventually, the old echo will die out completely, and the only sound you will hear is the glorious music of your new life. Your inner speech is the glue that holds your self-concept together. You are who you are because of what you tell yourself you are. If you want to change your self-concept from a failure to a success, you must change the narrative. You must stop telling yourself the story of your past struggles. You must start telling yourself the story of your future glory as if it were present now. I want you to write a new script for yourself. Literally, write it down on paper. Write down a short paragraph that summarizes how you want to feel and what you want to be true. It might be something like, I am so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. I am doing work that I love, and I am respected by everyone I meet. My body is strong and healthy, and my mind is at peace. Memorize this script. Let it become your default setting. When your mind wanders, bring it back to this script. Recite it like a mantra. Recite it until it loses the feeling of being words and becomes a feeling of being true. As you do this, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are building a new self-concept, and as your self-concept changes, your behavior will change effortlessly. You will walk taller. You will make better decisions. You will attract different people, all because you changed the text of your internal monologue. There is a profound mystical truth that says speech and mind are one. You cannot think without speaking internally. Try it. Try to think a complex thought without using words in your head. It is impossible. Language is the structure of thought. Therefore, if you control the language, you control the thought. And if you control the thought, you control. And if you control the vibration, you control the manifestation. This is the chain of command. It starts with the word. Be careful of your words, both inner and outer. Never say, I am sick, I am broke, I am dying. The subconscious mind takes these as literal commands. It does not have a sense of humor. It does not understand sarcasm. It simply executes orders. If you are joking about how terrible your life is, the subconscious says, okay, let us make the life terrible. Stop the self-deprecating humor. Stop the habit of bonding with people over shared misery. Start bonding over shared vision. Start speaking words of life. Start speaking words of power. As we close this section on inner speech, I want you to imagine your mind as a grand orchestra. Until now, the musicians have been playing without a conductor. The violins are screeching fear. The drums are pounding out anxiety. And the trumpets are blasting anger. It is a cacophony of noise that has created a chaotic life. You are the conductor. It is time to step up to the podium. Tap your baton. Silence the noise. And then, deliberately, consciously, choose the melody you want to play. Choose a melody of abundance. Choose a melody of love. Choose a melody of health. Direct the inner voices to sing in harmony with your desire. It will take practice. The musicians might try to go back to the old chaotic tune because that is what they know. But you must be firm. Keep conducting. Keep the rhythm. Eventually, the orchestra will follow your lead. And when your inner speech becomes a symphony of the wish fulfilled, the outer world will become a masterpiece of beauty. You have the power. It is right there, on the tip of your tongue, in the silence of your mind. Speak your world into existence. Now that we have mastered the active work of revision and inner speech, we must learn the final and perhaps the most difficult step. We must learn how to let go. We must learn the secret of the Sabbath, the state of rest, where we know that it is done and we allow the universe to deliver the child we have conceived. Let us enter the silence together. We have traveled a great distance together in this exploration of consciousness. We have awakened to the truth that you are the operant power. We have learned the mechanics of shifting from thinking of the end to thinking from the end. We have mastered the pruning shears of revision to heal the past. And we have disciplined the unruly children of our inner speech to align with our desires. Now we arrive at the final gate. We arrive at the most misunderstood, and yet the most essential state in the entire process of creation. We arrive at the Sabbath. When you hear this word, do not think of a day of the week. Do not think of a religious ritual performed in a church or a temple. In the language of the mystics and the true psychology of the soul, the Sabbath is not a unit of time. It is an attitude of mind. It is the state of spiritual rest that follows the act of creation. It is the deep, unshakable conviction that the seed has been planted. The work has been done, and there is nothing left for you to do but to wait for the harvest with joy and confidence. Many of you have done the work of imagination perfectly. You have visualized the scene. You have felt the reality of it. You have revised your day, but then you fail. You fail because you do not know how to enter the Sabbath. You do not know how to let go. You keep digging up the seed to see if it is growing. You keep worrying about how it will happen and when it will happen. You keep trying to help God manifest your desire with your anxious human efforts. This anxiety is the very thing that aborts the creation. To command reality, you must learn the discipline of stillness. You must learn the secret of the pregnant silence, where the invisible becomes visible. Let us use the most perfect analogy for this state, which is the analogy of pregnancy. Manifestation is a biological process of the mind. There is a moment of conception. This is when you successfully unite your imagination with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In that moment of union, when you feel the thrill of "it is done," a spiritual seed is fertilized within the womb of your subconscious mind. Once conception has taken place, what is left for you to do? Can you force the baby to grow faster? Can you use your willpower to knit together the bones and the eyes of the child? No. The process is now out of your hands. It has been handed over to a deeper wisdom, a deeper power that knows exactly how to build a life. Your only job during the pregnancy is to take care of yourself and to wait in confidence. You do not wake up every morning in a panic, wondering if you are still pregnant. You know you are. You do not run to the doctor every hour to ask if the baby is still there. You rest in the assumption. You prepare the room. You buy the clothes. You live in the joyous expectation of the arrival. This is the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the period of gestation between the moment of assumption and the moment of physical manifestation. It is a time of non-interference. If you were to perform surgery on a pregnant woman every day to check on the baby, you would kill the child. Yet this is exactly what you do to your desires when you worry. Every moment of anxiety is a surgery. Every doubt is an interference. You must trust the womb of the subconscious. You must trust that the seed you planted is perfect and that it is growing in its own secret way, even if you cannot see the evidence on the outside yet. The greatest enemy of the Sabbath is the intellect's obsession with the how and the when. The human mind is a problem-solving machine. It wants to know the logistics. It wants a schedule. You imagine yourself wealthy, and immediately your mind asks, how will I get the money? Will I win the lottery? Will I get a promotion? When will it come? Will it be next week? These questions are the noise of the old man. They are the voice of doubt masquerading as logic. You must understand that you are not the general manager of the universe. You are the architect who designs the building, but you are not the construction crew. The ways and means of manifestation are beyond your conscious comprehension. The universe has 1 billion ways to bring you $1, and you only know 3. If you insist that it must come through one of the ways you know, you block the other 1 billion ways. Entering the Sabbath means you completely resign the responsibility of the how. You wash your hands of it. You say to the universe, I have decided what I want. I have felt the reality of it. Now, you handle the logistics. This is a tremendous relief. It takes the weight of the world off your shoulders. You do not need to figure out how to meet your soulmate. You do not need to figure out how to cure your body. You only need to dwell in the end result. The bridge of incidents that leads to the fulfillment will be constructed by a power far greater than your intellect. Your attempt to force the how is actually a lack of faith. It is you telling the universe that you do not trust it to deliver. And since the universe reflects your beliefs, if you do not trust it, it will give you reasons not to trust it. Stop plotting. Stop scheming. Stop calculating. Rest. How do you know if you have truly entered the Sabbath? How do you know if the conception was successful? There is one unmistakable sign. It is the feeling of relief. It is a deep, quiet satisfaction. It is the absence of thirst. If you drink a glass of water, you are no longer thirsty. If you continue to ask for water, it is proof that you have not yet drunk. If you continue to ask the universe for your desire, if you continue to plead and beg and visualize with desperation, it is proof that you do not believe you have it. When you have truly assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, the hunger disappears. You might still want it physically, but psychologically, you feel that it is already yours. You feel a sense of it is finished. You can go about your day without thinking about it constantly. You can look at your current lack without panic because you know it is temporary. This mental neutrality is the sweet spot. It is not an emotion of high excitement. Excitement usually implies that you are surprised or that you are hoping for something future. The Sabbath is a feeling of naturalness. It feels normal. It feels settled. If you find yourself checking your phone frantically for a text, you are not in the Sabbath. Go back to your imagination. Go back to inner speech. Do the work again until you reach that point of explosion. That point of release where you feel the tension snap and you float in the peace of knowing. Now, living in the Sabbath does not mean you simply lay in bed and do nothing. You are still a person in the physical world. You still have to chop wood and carry water. You still have to go to work and pay bills. The difference is your internal state while you do these things. You are in the world, but not of it. You might be walking through a valley of shadows, a time of death, sickness, or loneliness, but you fear no evil. Why? Because you carry the secret knowledge of your inevitable victory. You perform your duties, but you do them with the likeness of an actor playing a role. You know that the character you are playing right now is just a temporary costume, and that the script has already been rewritten for a happy ending. This state of detachment is powerful. It makes you magnetic. When you are not desperate, people are drawn to you. When you do not need their validation, they give it to you. The Sabbath creates a vacuum of neediness that the universe rushes to fill. You become like a rock in a stormy sea. The waves of circumstance crash around you, the bad news, the delays, the opinions of others, but you remain unmoved. You smile inwardly. You know what you have seen in the silence. You know what you have planted, and you know that nature never fails. The oak tree is in the acorn. The success is in the assumption. You just keep walking. Keep breathing. Keep trusting the incubation process. A common question that arises is the role of action. If I am in the Sabbath, do I stop taking action? No, but the quality of your action changes entirely. There are two types of action, forced action and inspired action. Forced action comes from fear. It is you trying to manipulate the world to make things happen. It is exhausting. It is stressful. And it rarely works. You send 100 emails out of desperation. You chase people who do not want to be chased. This is the action of the man who does not believe. Inspired action, on the other hand, flows from the Sabbath. When you are resting in the end, you will get impulses. You will feel a sudden urge to call someone. You will feel a desire to drive down a certain street. You will get an idea for a book or a business. These impulses will not feel like work. They will feel like play. They will feel natural. You will move, but you will move with the current, not against it. You will find yourself doing things effortlessly that lead you straight to your goal. The bridge of incidents is often built of your own actions, but they are actions that are dictated by the subconscious mind, not the anxious ego. If you have to force yourself to do it, if it feels like a struggle, stop. Return to the silence. Return to the Sabbath. Wait for the movement to come from within. The operant power moves you when the time is right. The Sabbath is not always easy. It is the test of your spiritual maturity. There will be days when the 3D world screams at you. There will be days when everything seems to go wrong. The old man will rise up from his grave and try to terrify you. He will say, "Look at the bank account. It is getting lower. You are a fool for believing this. This is the crucible. This is where the true adept is separated from the dabbler." In these moments, you must not react. You must not argue with the facts. You must simply withdraw your attention from them. Remember, attention is the food of reality. If you feed the bad news with your fear, you keep it alive. If you starve it of attention, it must be. In the Sabbath, you practice the art of indifference to negative appearances. You look at the problem and you say, "This has nothing to do with me. My reality is secure." You turn your back on the sensory evidence and you look at the face of God within. You remember the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You reaffirm your inner speech, and you return to the rest. This persistence in the face of contrary evidence is what hardens the assumption into fact. It is easy to have faith when things are going well. It is when the storm is raging that your faith commands the elements. Be still and know that I am God. That stillness is the command. We must also address the illusion of time delay. In the Sabbath, you live in a state where time is irrelevant. You know that in the fourth dimension, the world of imagination, your desire is already a fact. It exists right now. The time it takes to appear in the third dimension is just the time it takes for you to walk to it. If you order a package online, it is yours the moment you click buy. The fact that it takes 3 days to arrive does not mean it is not yours. You do not doubt ownership during the shipping process. Treat your desires the same way. The shipping time is not a denial. It is just density. Matter is heavy. It takes time to rearrange, but it is moving. Every moment you remain in the Sabbath, you are accelerating the arrival. Every moment you panic, you are hitting the brakes. The Sabbath is the accelerator. It is the path of least resistance. When you stop resisting the present moment, when you stop fighting the time delay, the time collapses. You will find that things happen miraculously fast when you stop waiting for them. Waiting implies separation. Resting implies possession. Do not wait. Occupy. So, my friends, I invite you to enter the rest. I invite you to lay down your heavy burden of trying to make things happen. You have done the work. You have imagined, you have revised, you have spoken. Now, let it be. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is the ultimate strength. It is the strength of a man who knows he is so powerful that he does not need to fight. It is the confidence of a king who gives an order and then turns his back, knowing it will be obeyed. Trust your imagination. It is God himself. Do you think God needs to worry? Do you think God needs to stress? You are that power. Claim your Sabbath. Live in the relief of having. Walk with the dignity of the one who possesses. Sleep in the peace of the wish fulfilled, and as you rest, the whole vast world will begin to shake and shift and mold itself to bring your dream to your doorstep. You will not have to chase it. It will chase you. This is the promise. This is the law. It is done. Now, as we conclude this journey, let us bring all these pieces together into a final challenge. Let us take this knowledge out of the realm of theory and into the realm of experience. I will give you your marching orders for the next 30 days. I will show you how to turn this philosophy into a lifestyle that will never fail you. Prepare yourself, for the old you is about to take his final breath. We have now reached the summit of this journey. We have traversed the landscape of the mind, from the awakening of your true identity as the operant power to the specific mechanics of thinking from the end. We have armed you with the pruning shears of revision to heal your past, taught you to direct the orchestra of your inner speech, to command the present, and showed you how to enter the holy rest of the Sabbath to allow the future to be born. You now possess knowledge that has been hidden from the masses for centuries. You hold the keys to the kingdom. But knowledge alone is not power. Knowledge is potential power. It only becomes kinetic. It only becomes reality when it is applied with ruthless consistency. To know this law and not to use it is a tragedy far greater than ignorance. The ignorant man is asleep and cannot be blamed for his stumbling. But you are now awake. You have seen the light. If you close your eyes now and return to the sleep of the victim, you do so by choice. I am not here to entertain you. I am not here to give you a temporary dopamine hit of motivation that will fade by tomorrow morning. I am here to demand a transformation. I am here to challenge you to kill the old version of yourself and give birth to the new. The philosophy we have discussed is useless if it remains a philosophy. It must become a way of life. It must become your breath, your blood, and your bone. It must replace your old habits of thought so completely that you can no longer recognize the person you were yesterday. Therefore, I am not asking you to just agree with this video. I am asking you to commit to a rigorous experiment. I am challenging you to a 30-day resurrection. Why do we set a time frame of 30 days? Because the momentum of your old self is strong. You have spent years, perhaps decades, rehearsing the patterns of limitation. You have memorized the feeling of being broke. You have memorized the feeling of being lonely. You have memorized the feeling of being unworthy. These patterns are etched into your neural pathways and your subconscious mind like deep canyons. A single day of positive thinking will not fill these canyons. A single visualization will not rewrite the code. Scientific studies and spiritual traditions alike agree that it takes a sustained period of repetition to break a habit and install a new program. 30 days is a cycle of the moon. It is a cycle of renewal. It is long enough to push past the initial resistance of the ego, yet short enough to be a manageable commitment. During these next 30 days, you are going to go on a mental fast and a mental feast. You are going to fast from negativity, from doubt, and from the evidence of the senses, and you are going to feast on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not a hobby. For the next month, this is your primary job. Your career, your relationships, and your hobbies are secondary. Your primary occupation is the management of your own consciousness. If you can give me this commitment, if you can give yourself this gift, I promise you that by the end of this month, You will not be the same person. You will walk differently. You will talk differently. And the world around you will have shifted to match your new vibration. The first step of the challenge is selection. You cannot chase two rabbits at once. If you try to manifest a new car, a new lover, a new job, and a health cure all at the same time in your first month, you will dilute your power. You will scatter your energy. For this experiment, I want you to choose one target, one burning desire, the one thing that, if you had it, would make the biggest difference in your life right now. Is it a specific amount of money? Is it the healing of a relationship? Is it a promotion? Choose it. Define it clearly. Do not be vague. Do not just say you want to be happy. Happiness is a byproduct of fulfillment. Choose a specific state. If it is money, choose a sum. If it is a job, choose the title. Once you have chosen, I want you to write it down. But do not write it as a future hope. Write it as a present fact. Write, I am so happy and grateful now that I am. And fill in the blank. This is your contract with the universe. This is your anchor. For the next 30 days, this one desire is your North Star. Every technique we apply will be directed at this single target. By focusing all your imaginative power on one point, you act like a magnifying glass focusing the sun's rays. You will create a fire. You will burn through the obstacles. Once you have proven the law with this one thing, you can apply it to everything else. But first, you must prove it. Your day begins the moment you gain consciousness. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phone. They flood their minds with news, social media, and the problems of the world. They put on the garment of the old self before they even get out of bed. They remember their debts. They remember their appointments. They are instantly enslaved by the past. For the next 30 days, you are forbidden to do this. Your phone must wait. The world must wait. The first 10 minutes of your morning are sacred. This is when your brain is in a theta state, highly suggestible and open to programming. Before you open your eyes, lie still. Bring to mind your chosen desire, but do not think of it. Think from it. If your desire is the new job, imagine you are waking up on a Saturday morning after a successful first week at work. Feel the relief. Say to yourself, isn't it wonderful? I love my new career. Feel the sheets against your skin. Smell the coffee brewing. Construct a short scene that implies fulfillment. Maybe it is your partner congratulating you. Maybe it is looking at your bank balance on your phone and seeing the new number. Loop this scene. Feel the reality of it. Do not get out of bed until you have the feeling of satisfaction. This sets the rudder for your entire day. You are not waking up as the person seeking a job. You are waking up as the person who has the job. You are wearing that identity. When you finally stand up, carry that dignity with you. Brush your teeth as that person. Shower as that person. Do not let the feeling fade the moment your feet touch the floor. As you move through your day, the old world will try to seduce you back into sleep. Your senses will show you things that contradict your assumption. Someone will say something discouraging. A bill will arrive. This is the battlefield. This is where the challenge is won or lost. Most people visualize in the morning and then spend the rest of the day denying it with their reactions. You must be the watchman at the gate of your mind. You must practice the mental diet we discussed in part 4. For 30 days, you must catch your inner speech. Every time you catch yourself worrying, asking how, or complaining, you must stop immediately. Do not judge yourself. Do not get angry. Just hit the pause button. Say to yourself, no, that is the old story. I no longer live there. And immediately replace the thought with your chosen affirmation or scene. If you are manifesting health and you feel a pain, do not spiral into fear. Say, this is just a memory leaving my body. I am healthy and strong. You may have to do this 100 times a day. Do it. It is exhausting at first. like training a muscle, but after a week, it becomes easier. You will start to notice that your negative thoughts lose their punch. They become like faint echoes. You must be relentless. You are building a new house. Do not let anyone bring trash into your living room. The end of the day is just as critical as the beginning. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or defeated. Sleep is the gateway to the subconscious. Whatever concept of self you take into sleep will be incubated for 8 hours and expressed in your tomorrow. If you fall asleep worrying, you are literally programming your future with problems. For this challenge, your evening routine is non-negotiable. First, practice the revision technique we learned in part 3. Review your day. Look at the moments where you lost your temper, where you felt fear, or where things did not go your way. Rewrite them. Imagine the day went perfectly. Imagine you reacted with calm. Imagine the bad news was actually good news. Clean the slate. Do not carry the mud of today into the bed of tonight. Once you have revised, return to your morning scene, the short, looped scene of fulfillment. Lull yourself to sleep with this scene. Do not try too hard. Let it be a gentle lullaby. Thank you. Thank you. It is done. Fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you wake up in the middle of the night, do not worry. Return to the assumption, your last waking thought should be of your success. By sandwiching your day between a morning assumption and an evening assumption, and guarding the middle with a mental diet, you create an impenetrable shield of consciousness. I must warn you of a phenomenon that happens to almost everyone. It is called the dip, usually around day 7 or day 10. The initial excitement wears off, the novelty fades, and the external world might even seem to get worse. Chaos might erupt. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that the old reality is breaking up. When you renovate a house, it looks like a disaster zone before it looks beautiful. You have to tear down the old walls to build the new ones. When the dip happens, the old man will scream at you. He will say, "This is stupid. It's not working. You look like a fool." This is the moment that separates the master from the student. You must persist. Persistence is not forcing. Persistence is simply the refusal to give up. It is the quiet stubbornness of faith. You look at the chaos and you say, "I see you, but I do not accept you as final." You double down on your imagination. You treat the negative circumstances as a test of your resolve. You say, "You can show me debt, you can show me rejection, but I have seen the truth in my imagination, and I will not bow to graven images." If you can push through the dip, if you can hold your nerve when everything tells you to quit, you will break through to the other side. The dawn always comes after the darkest hour. Do not quit in the dark. In the ancient scriptures, there is a story of a merchant who finds a pearl of great price. He goes and sells everything he has to buy it. This story is about you. The pearl is your imagination, your power to create reality. But to possess it, you must sell everything you have. What do you have to sell? You must sell your victimhood. You must sell your excuses. You must sell your belief in luck. You must sell your attachment to the opinions of others. You must sell your past identity. This is the cost. You cannot keep your old limitations and buy the new life. You have to let them go entirely. Many people want the pearl, but they want to keep their old, comfortable misery too. They want to be rich, but they love complaining about the economy. They want to be loved, but they love gossiping about how terrible relationships are. You cannot have both. You must buy the pearl with your total surrender of the old self. This 30-day challenge is the transaction. You are paying with your discipline. You are paying with your focus. It is a high price. Yes. It requires effort, but the reward is dominion over your life. The reward is freedom. The reward is knowing that you are never helpless again. Is that not worth the price? Imagine for a moment who you will be in 30 days if you follow this path. Imagine a version of yourself that is unshakable, A version of yourself that does not react to the news, but creates the news. Imagine walking into a room and feeling a sense of command, not over others, but over yourself. Imagine knowing that whatever desire springs up in your heart, you have the technology to manifest it. You are no longer a cork on the ocean. You are the captain of the ship. This version of you is waiting. It is standing right there in the future, extending a hand to you. But you must take the hand. You must do the walking. The bridge between who you are now and who you could be is built of daily discipline. It is built of the morning visualization. It is built of the midday mental diet. It is built of the evening revision. Every time you deny a negative thought, you lay a brick on that bridge. Every time you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you take a step forward. Do not keep this version of yourself waiting. He has waited long enough. She has waited long enough. The world needs this awakened version of you. The world needs people who are not victims, people who are creators, people who shine with the light of realized potential. You are not alone in this journey. Thousands of others are waking up right now. Just like you, we are building a community of conscious creators, a sanctuary for the awakened mind. By participating in this challenge, you are joining an invisible army of men and women who have decided to take back their power. I want you to make this commitment public, not to boast, but to anchor your resolve. Go to the comments section right now. Type the words, "I accept the challenge. I am the Operant Power." Leave your mark. Let this comment be the timestamp of your new beginning. And 30 days from now, come back. Come back and tell us your story. Tell us about the job you got. Tell us about the money that came. Tell us about the relationship that healed. Your testimony will be the light that guides someone else out of the darkness. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. Not just to watch videos, but to align yourself with this frequency. Make this channel your daily reminder. Turn on the notifications so that when the world tries to drag you back to sleep, we are here to wake you up. We will be here every step of the way, providing you with the wisdom, the techniques, and the reminder of who you truly are. The time for talking is over. The time for action is now. You have the map. You have the tools. You have the power. The only variable left is your will. Will you do it? Will you dare to prove this law for yourself? Do not look for permission. You have it from the universe. Do not look for signs. You are the sign. Walk out of this digital room and into your life with the posture of a king, with the grace of a queen. Look at your world and smile, knowing that it is just a mirror, and you have finally learned how to change the reflection. Walk like it is done. Talk like it is done. Sleep like it is done. Remember, you are the dreamer and the dream. You are the lover and the beloved. You are the creator and the creation. There is nothing outside of you. It is all within. Go now. Enter the silence. Construct your scene. Feel the reality. And watch the world bow before your assumption. I am with you in the spirit. I believe in you. Now, go and show yourself what you are capable of. It is finished. The door is open. The path is clear. If this message has resonated with your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video so the algorithm can find others who are lost in sleep and help them awaken. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now. Join us. We are building a sanctuary for those who refuse to be victims of circumstance. Check the description below for more resources to aid your journey. Remember, you are the Operant Power. The world is waiting for your command. Go now and live from the end. It is done.